Fellow Toastmasters, we need more Michaels in the world. Michaels like me, because I'm amazing. I can sing, ha ha, I can dance, I can do math. I could probably even fix your computer for you. I can do wonderful things and I make a positive difference in the world. We need more Michaels in the world. Well, if you ask my wife, she says the world probably has enough of me already. But there is one particular Michael who I think is very important, and we need more of him in the world. His name is Michael Oesch, and I doubt that you've ever heard of him before. Michael is an amazing individual. I originally met him about 10 years ago. We're fellow musicians, and we were working together with a third Michael who was creating an album of all of his music. Unfortunately, that third Michael passed away before the album could be complete. And Michael Oesch put it upon himself to make sure that album was completed and that it could be actually published to the world. And to do that, he had to bring together a collection of musicians and organize a fundraising concert to make that happen. That was how important to him that it was to honor his friend's vision. What else does Michael do? Michael's a bus driver. He gets up there taking kids to school, and apparently, according to the kids, he's the cool driver. Everybody wants to be on his bus. But there's something else that Michael does that I thought was phenomenal. Michael is a hiker. Now, we're not talking just a Sunday 2 hours, I'm a hiker kind of hiker. Michael has hiked from one side of Canada all the way to the other side. In fact, he's done it multiple times, sections of that many times. And when he does that, it's not just him all by himself. He encourages people to go with him. He meets people, he makes contacts, he shares stories. He creates a wonderful sense of community and a sense of what Canada is and what it offers to people. So where's Michael right now? Well, he is probably laying on his bed. In fact, he lays in his bed about 23 hours a day. He is in a long-term care home. Now, he's 2 years younger than I am. How could this have happened? Well, ironically, a few years ago, he started noticing trouble walking. And it progressed onwards and onwards to the point where he couldn't walk. He couldn't stand. In fact, just basic muscle movement is a challenge for him. He can squeeze his hand once, twice, and then maybe it doesn't work the third time. He has a degenerative disease in his spine, but they don't even know what it is. They've done all kinds of diagnoses, and unfortunately they can't figure out what caused it, and therefore they don't know how to treat it. So he is destined to lay in bed 23 hours a day. How would that make you feel? Being stuck in bed for that long when you used to be able to walk across the country. Well, I can tell you, he was frustrated initially. But then, him being the kind of person he is, he said, what can I do? Instead of focusing on what I can't do, what can I do? And he's been a lifelong learner, so he spent lots of time staring at his phone, learning about things that interested him, whether that was music or psychology or language. He also reached out to people because that's something he naturally did. Fortunately, Facebook lets you reach out to the world. So one of the many things that he had done in the past was photography, and he had a sense of lighting. So he went to the point of waiting for the sun to almost come into the window, and then he'd snap a few portraits of himself, and then he'd snap a few more. And he'd give little photography lessons on the effects of light and shadow and how it creates a different sense of persona when you're taking portrait photography. He educated people about his disease, but never to make people feel like they should feel sorry for him, but to just make them more aware of what's happening in our medical system. There's one particular thing he did that really touched me. He has many, many personal support workers coming in all the time. And many of them are just, they come in, matter of fact, do their job. But this one particular one She was in her early 20s, and he noticed that she had what he called a healing touch. And he also happened to notice she had an interesting lilt to her voice. He found out that she was working in Canada on a working visa, and he asked her, "Are you from Zimbabwe?" She looked at him and thought, "How would you know that?" He goes, "Well, I have friends from Zimbabwe, and your voice sounded similar. I thought maybe you were." So the next time he had a chance to see her, he had made sure to look up the word for healer in Zulu, and it's Insingoma. He also happened to have looked up, by pure coincidence, a couple of weeks earlier, the word for God in a bunch of different languages, and it just so happened that the word for God in Zulu had caught his mind. A wonderful word, unkulunkulu. Try and say that to yourself, unkulunkulu. Such an interesting sounding word. So he said to her the next time he saw her, that unkulunkulu has great plans for you. You will be a great Insingoma. And this big smile burst onto her face. Here's this person who's come from across the world. All of her friends and family are across on the other side of the continent, or the other side of the globe. And she's here to help this person who can't seem to help themselves, yet here they are making an effort to reach out to her, to make her feel better. That, to me, was somebody who really cares about people more than he cares about himself. Michael has taught me 3 very important things. First of all, to keep learning, regardless of where you are in life. Keep learning, keep improving yourself. Number 2, regardless of your situation, you can have a positive impact on the world and on people around you. And the last very important thing he taught me was, we need more of Michael in the world. I return control to our chair.